Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the football betting series here on YouTube, FA Cup edition. Last FA Cup episode we did go 4 from 4, but we were helped out by the lack of VAR in the 4th round, both involving Manchester United's late winner and a late Spurs consolation goal as well. Nevertheless, we did pick up some respectable profit and hope to continue that form here in round 5. At the time of recording, the odds are not live, so I will add a pinned comment down below as I did in the last FA Cup episode. All of the bets in the FA Cup for me are half stakes, so that means I will be backing each selection with £20, and that's how I'm staying safe and gambling responsibly. If you think I'm talking some sense in today's video, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. Without further ado, let's get into it. Our first pick sees Manchester City hosting Plymouth. And Man City, they secured their spot in round 5 of the Cup with a rather unconvincing win against League One side Leyton Orient. Man City went behind due to a goal which was eventually credited to an Ortega own goal, and that was when Orient's midfielder Jamie Donnelly caught the German off his line and shot from over 40 yards out. The shot crashed off the crossbar and struck the backpedaling goalkeeper, and the ball ended up in the back of the net to give the underdogs the lead. The O's actually held the line until half-time, and the scores were only levelled up by Kusanov's deflected shot in the 56th minute. From this moment, however, it was all Manchester City, right up until the moment substitute De Bruyne scored City's second for the 2-1 win. It was a close call for sure, and that is ratified by the numbers. Although Manchester City took most of the ball, as everyone was expecting, Leyton Orient did manage to generate 13 shots and 2 big chances in the game, and they very nearly managed an upset. Manchester City's win in the last round, as well as their 8-0 win against Salford, means they have had one of the easiest runs to the 5th round this year by any team by quite some margin. They host a Plymouth side who were handed one of the more difficult runs of the competition. In the previous round, they beat Premier League side Brentford at the G-Tech thanks to Morgan Whittaker's effort. And then in the previous round, the 12-1 underdogs were against Liverpool. And whilst the Reds did field a rotated squad for this game, the lineups did include names like Gomez, Endo, Tsimikas, Elliott, Chiesa, Jota and Diaz, all of which would be good enough to get into a lot of sides in the Premier League and should be expected to beat a side sitting at the foot of the Championship. However, the difference in this game came down to the penalty spot, as Harvey Elliott was judged to have handled the ball in his effort to block a shot. Ryan Hardy then converted from the spot, and from there on it was a case of sit back and defend what you have kind of performance for Argyle. And I don't think it came to any surprise that Connor Hazard picked up the Man of the Match award, pulling off some emphatic saves to maintain Argyle's clean sheet and dump the sides at the top of the Premier League out of the FA Cup. There's no head-to-head record to go off, so straight on to the prediction. As much as everyone would love Plymouth's fairy tale to continue and eliminate a 3rd Premier League side in consecutive rounds, I think that Manchester City will be a bridge too far against the Cornish side. At the time of recording, Manchester City have just lost to Real Madrid by 3-2, and with the second leg in Madrid, I don't think Pep's side will feature in the next rounds of the Champions League. Additionally, the title race is pretty much out of the picture for Manchester City, so the FA Cup really presents the last chance to pick up some silverware this season, and I think they will go with a strong lineup as a result. With the game at the Etihad, I think we're looking at another Salford-like performance, and I expect City to dominate the possession, the efforts on goal, and ultimately the scoreline. I'm going to back Manchester City at -1.5 on the Asian handicap, meaning they will need to win by 2 or more goals for the bet to cash. And I'm going to back that for a half stake here in bet number 1. Our second selection sees Manchester United playing host to Fulham. And Manchester United were lucky in their last game that VAR was not in action. Harry Maguire was offside for his 93rd minute winner. And despite this pot of controversy, Manchester United probably did deserve to go through on merit. They did overturn Bobby Reid's opening goal thanks to Xerxes and the aforementioned Maguire. Looking at the numbers, the Red Devils did win out on every major win predictor statistic, as Leicester turned in a solid if unspectacular performance. This result does mean that Manchester United have now dumped out 2 fellow Premier League sides in the Cup after beating Arsenal on penalties back in round 3 in January. They're looking to make it 3 from 3 against Fulham in this one. And speaking of Fulham, they arrive in the 5th round of the Cup on the back of a 2-1 win against Wigan. 2 goals in each half coming from Rodrigo Muñoz was the difference between the sides. When we take a look at the numbers, Fulham absolutely deserved the win. They dominated the first 45 minutes and limited Wigan to just a single shot, and that was off target. From here on out, the second half, Wigan did come into the game a little bit more and level the scores through Johnny Smith in the 50th minute. But this even footing would only be fleeting as Muñoz netted his second just 5 minutes later to restore the Cottagers' lead. When we look at the head-to-head record, Manchester United have won both of the Premier League fixtures this season, both by narrow margins. They played at Old Trafford on the opening night of the season, and Xerxes' 87th minute goal adding to a dominant Manchester United performance. More recently, however, it was Lisandro Martinez's winner in the 78th minute at Craven Cottage which sealed the deal, but this was a rather drab affair where both sides only combined for 0.92 XG. However, looking at the FA Cup exclusively, Manchester United had always bested Fulham. The three encounters in 2009, 2013 and 2023 have all seen the Red Devils progress within the 90 minutes. My prediction for today's game is that I think we're looking at another United win here. They've got the momentum in the Cup and no real European distractions, as they did finish third place in the Europa League phase. Everyone associated with Manchester United is looking for some ray of hope in what has been quite a tricky season once again. They also have the better head-to-head record over Fulham, both in the Premier League and in the FA Cup as well. All roads appear to lead to Manchester United here, but I would like the assurance of extra time and penalties if I need it. So instead of backing them outright in the 90 minutes at what I would expect to be about 1.7, 1.75, I will back them to qualify for the next round in what I'm expecting to be around 1.4 to 1.5, and I'm going to do that for a half stake here in bet number 2. Our third pick in today's episode sees Aston Villa play host to Cardiff City, and Aston Villa eased their way into the next round of the Cup in their last match against Tottenham. Jacob Ramsey got the Villains off to the best possible start as his shot was too hot to handle for Kimski, giving the Villains the lead after just 1 minute. Morgan Rogers doubled the lead in the 64th minute, with Spurs only able to add a consolation goal in stoppage time, with the final score ending 2-1 to Aston Villa. This result made it back-to-back 2-1 wins in the FA Cup for Aston Villa. Their previous round also saw a 2-1 win at home against West Ham. They host a Cardiff side who bested Stoke last time out. The Bluebirds found themselves 2-0 ahead after just 19 minutes, with goals from Colwell and Salech, before 2 goals either side of half-time did restore parity for Stoke. Cardiff then fell behind, with Lewis Baker converting from the penalty spot to complete the turnaround for the Potters. However, Colwell did strike again to complete his brace and Cardiff's third goal in the match, levelling the scores up 3-3 at full time. 3-3 is how the game would end after 120 minutes as well, with Cardiff prevailing on penalties. There is an air of luck around penalties, but Cardiff have definitely earned their spot in the round of 16 here. They put up some good numbers against Stoke, and even bested recent Premier League opposition in Sheffield United in the previous round. Make no mistake, the Welsh side are here on merit. When we look at the head-to-head records, these sides last faced off in the 2017-2018 Championship season. The sides split the season series, with Cardiff picking up a 3-0 win at home, before Villa bagged a 1-0 win in Birmingham, thanks to a young Jack Grealish. My prediction for today's game is that I think we're looking at an Aston Villa win here. Cardiff have given a good account of themselves in the FA Cup. They are yet to be tested by Premier League opposition. I think the pace of the game will be too much for the Bluebirds to handle here. Aston Villa also won't have any Champions League fixture congestion, as they managed to secure a top 8 spot on the final day of the league stage, so they can afford to go strong here and look for a deep run in the FA Cup. Unlike the last pick, I do think Villa will win within 90 minutes, so I'm going to back them to pick up a win here for a half stake in bet number 3.